Good morning from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I am thrilled to be in worship with all of you this morning and participating in this way. I have kept up with the comings and goings of Yahat's Community Presbyterian Church through all of your great work. I am so proud to even be mentioned in the same vein as all of you. It's wonderful work you guys are doing out there. I am honored to be able to preach for Pastor Bob this Sunday. And where is Pastor Bob, you ask? Is he not right there? Is he not in worship, watching the same screens that you are watching right here? I mean, is he just going to sit there? He's going to sit there while I do all the heavy lifting. And it certainly brings back memories from seminary, I'll tell you that much. No wonder he got the Marshall Award, for goodness sakes. I was the wind beneath his wings. I still am. So, we have a very familiar passage on this third Sunday of Easter. Good old doubting Thomas, who makes an appearance every single year at Eastertide. And Thomas has been getting a bad rap for 2,000 years. If I were Thomas's attorney, I would petition the courts to remove doubting from his name. And we've been calling him that for 2,000 years. But if it pleases the courts, I would say, why does my client have to have the word doubting next to his name? Why does he have such a hurtful nickname for 2 millennia? Other disciples are much worse, and they haven't had to endure this ridicule. Do you want to know what my client didn't do right now? My client did not sell the Lord for 30 pieces of silver. But we don't refer to Judas as Jerky Judas, do we? No, I don't think so. My client didn't deny Jesus 3 times, or 2 times, or even once, for goodness sakes. But we don't call Peter denying Peter. And my client did not fall asleep when Jesus was begging John and James to just stay awake for an hour. But sleepy James and slumbering John didn't seem to take hold. What is my client's crime, you ask? A crime so egregious that he had to endure mocking ridicule for thousands of years. He wanted to see it for himself. He wasn't satisfied with second-hand information or claims that seemed preposterous. He wanted to see it for himself. Every single other disciple got to see it for themselves, well, except for Jerky Judas, but everybody else got to experience the risen Lord behind locked doors. They saw his hands, they saw his side. And Thomas, after hearing that report, says, all right, well, it sounds good. I just want to see it for myself, or I'm not buying in. I don't think that this will be a successful endeavor to change Thomas's nickname. But here's the deal. I do wish that we would all approach our faith the same way that Thomas did. Skepticism and doubts are praised in many situations in life. Make sure you know who this person is before you jump into a relationship with them. Or if you're applying for a home loan, don't just take the first rate you see. Dig and doubt. When booking a vacation, don't just look for the quickest deal. Do some research. Doubt everything you are seeing. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. But many in the communities of faith, doubt and questions are not held up as admirable. In fact, in many churches, to question is akin to not believing. And if you're an unbeliever, then of course you're not welcome. Nothing in the Bible should be questioned. Nothing in the tradition should be questioned. And certainly the pastor should never be questioned. Thank goodness that YCPC is not one of those churches. I don't serve one of those churches either. The disciples have just seen the empty tomb, but they are behind locked doors because they were afraid. And then the resurrected Jesus comes onto the scene, and their fear and their doubt, it melts away. And I think that we assume that's how faith should be. We have doubts and fears, but then when God shows up, our doubts and our fears vanish and they're replaced with joy and wonder. But you see, that's not the way it worked in this story. A week later, they were still in the upper room, scared and terrified to leave, and it's certainly not the way it worked for Thomas. He was not satisfied with secondhand reports. He doubts, he questions, he disbelieves. Having someone tell him about Jesus is certainly not enough. He needs to experience Jesus. So what does Jesus do when Thomas expresses doubts? When Thomas dares to question and dig deeper and have the audacity to voice his doubt, what happens? Did God smite him? Did Jesus show up and say, "How dare you question the resurrection"? Did Jesus remove Thomas from the community and put him in a holy timeout? No, he comes to him. Jesus comes to him and gives Thomas what he needs. And Thomas, after wrestling with this doubt and coming to this moment, makes the deepest confession located in all four of our Gospels. He said, "My Lord and my God." Thomas would not have come to such a conclusion if he just took the other disciples' stories and did not question them. Through his questioning, through his stubbornness, Thomas experienced God in a profound and meaningful way. Thomas's deep theological convictions comes only after he was able to voice his doubt. Most of the time, faith is like that. It's that way we approach our faith. Faith needs the freedom of questions and doubt to really spring forth and take hold. If your faith is not giving you the opportunity to question and to doubt, then all you're going to be doing is reciting creeds and belief statements, and basically you have a faith that is not your own. But true, vigorous, vibrant faith comes from the freedom to question and wonder and doubt. If we don't have any doubts, if we don't voice our questions, I'm not totally certain we're taking this story very seriously. Think about the things that we say on Sunday morning when we gather with each other. That the creator of the entire universe actually cares and loves for me and our community. That God cares about our lives and our well-being. It's quite unbelievable, actually. And I don't think God wants us just to take this at face value. Our faith journey is all about uncovering and rediscovering the mysteries of God. The deeper we go and the more questions that we have, the more meaningful the faith journey can be. So to sound like Gordon Gekko, doubt is good. And there are so many Thomases out there that need to see something or experience something before they can buy into this faith. It's not enough for someone to tell them about Jesus and the cross and resurrection, about the healing and the movement for wholeness. It's not enough just to hear those words. It's meaningless to them unless you show them what it looks like. That's why we read earlier in the service the very first chapter in John. Jesus had some curious people that started to follow him. And Jesus didn't launch into creedal statements or words of affirmation or make claims of the unbelievable sort. Jesus just looked at these guys and said, "Come and see. Come and see what we're doing here. Come and experience the wholeness for yourself. Come and see this thing in action. Just come and see." And now we're at the end of John's gospel. And Thomas is basically saying, well, I just want to come and see. And Jesus meets him exactly where he is and shows him. It's a powerful, powerful story. And that's what you all are doing at Yahat's Community Presbyterian Church. You all are setting the stage so that others can experience the risen Christ. You all have created this community where the best sales pitch ever that you guys can say is come and see. Come check out what we're doing at Yachats Community Presbyterian Church. Come and see this thing for yourself and experience what God is doing here. When people ask me personally if I believe in the resurrection, I give them a resounding yes, but not because of some ancient story or some book that was put together a long time ago. I believe in the resurrection, truly, because of what I see you all doing in Oregon. And that's not an exaggeration. I'm serious when I say that. Your story is my go-to story on how resurrection works. What kind of a church decides to give away all of their resources during the pandemic when everyone else was trying to hoard things? Food and hand sanitizer and cleaning supplies and toilet paper. Don't you remember? Everyone was trying to hoard these things. Most churches, including mine that I serve, had meetings about how we were going to stay afloat. Let's limit spending. Let's batten down the hatches. Let's hunker down and see if we can weather this storm, but not Yachats Community Presbyterian Church. You all took the approach of the cross. Let's give it all away. Let's actually take up our cross and walk down a path that leads to certain death. You all chose to do that. And as I understand it, you didn't have a ton of money in the bank to begin with. But if you need money or resources, we will give you what we have, you all said. Struggling businesses, struggling individuals, struggling communities, take what we have, it is yours. When you are better, we are better. Truly, it reminds me of a scene from It's a Wonderful Life, the greatest Christmas movie of all time. That the whole town, if you remember the movie, the whole town was freaking out. There was a run on the bank, and there was so many people in the building and loan office, and they were so terrified they were going to lose everything. And George and Mary had just gotten married, and so George is trying to calm the crowd down, and Mary holds up the only money that she has, their honeymoon money, and says, "How much do you need?" You all chose to die, and resurrection was the result, raising over $850,000. It's probably more than that, by the way, and then giving it all away. This is why I think resurrection matters, and this is why I believe in resurrection. Look at you all now. Food pantry and tiny homes and resources for people to live. If there's an emergency, the police know to call you guys. If someone needs assistance, you all are the first place that they come to. And that's not just within Yachats. I mean, people from all over the place are hearing about the work you are doing over in Oregon and how you are changing the landscape. It's what church should look like. And by the way, you all didn't invent this. This is nothing new. This is resurrection. And it's real and it's powerful. And you all are living it out. There are people all over this world that are doubting their faith and doubting the entire enterprise, in fact. And for good reason, by the way. But when you talk to these people, tell them to come and see. And bring your doubt with you. Because we cherish digging around our faith and realizing resurrection when we can. This movement and this world needs more communities like Yachats Community Presbyterian Church, where doubt and questioning are lifted up and resurrection is a reality. Thanks be to God for your witness and your mission. And thank you so much for allowing me to worship with you today in this capacity. God bless.